Happy Tuesday. Around lunchtime here, we're about to go grab us a sandwich up here in Hamilton, Georgia, here at the old Bone Collector offices, and just coming back from a great week in Kansas, man. We had I say a great week. I had a great first afternoon. It was insane. I think we caught those bucks at the beginning. It seemed like the bucks were really moving, rutting pretty hard, and then it kind of got locked down. So Nick, T-Bone, and Eric Dunn at the Hooray Ranch up there. He's got a good duck lodge, a good place, and he's got some really good, phenomenal deer hunting. And so we was up there. And so the first afternoon I got one, but the deer really got locked down. And I think we got maybe 3 or 4 different does getting bred on camera while we were up there. But all in all, it was good, but we only got one good kill, and then T-Bone missed a really nice buck. You have to see the show. There was a barbed wire fence got in his way, but needless to say, we just get back home. And this past Sunday, obviously, just like everybody else, man, I get on social media and spend a lot of time, on my phone and looking at different things happening. Pretty much everybody these days, we live on social media and seeing what's happening. And so with that, obviously this past Sunday, it kind of came to light. One of the hunting personalities, Chris Brackett, who had a lot of videos out there of things that don't look so well for Chris. I'm definitely not going to give you my opinion in order to try to bash Chris Brackett. If you've ever known the history of me and Chris, we've had our differences and literally almost come to blows a couple times, to be honest with you, so we hadn't always seen eye to eye. But with that said, I, for one, have always been somebody that's respected Chris's originality, his talent, undeniably had a different way of going about things than most people in the industry, and that's what I really love about the hunting shows, is the different personalities and the different techniques and kind of different attitudes. Everybody's got their own little niche. I mean, I know I get made fun of a lot. I'm no booger bottom kid, redneck, whatever it might be. Chris was the kind of wild and crazy guy, hard rock, face paint guy that had sideburns, but he did a great job of doing what he's done. Obviously now he's under heavy fire. Could be potentially, if everything proves to be true, what happened in Indiana. If you have not seen that video, it could be, it could be bad for him. But does that make Chris Brackett a bad guy? I don't necessarily think it does. I mean, we've all made mistakes. We've all had things in our life, both personal and professionally, that we've done wrong. I certainly have. There's been a lot of things I've had happen to me that I'm not proud of, but obviously you live from your mistakes. So if Chris is watching this live video, Chris, I hope you'll take full responsibility in it and just say what happened. Every hunter has emotions. Every hunter has a thought process when out there hunting of how it feels, what it's like if you shoot one buck and another big one walks out there. I think the gut instinct, we all would like to shoot that other buck, but it's illegal. You can't. I mean, heck, we had it last year in Kansas. Our producer, Cohen Stone, we're sitting up in the stand. I shot a nice 8-pointer. It was the last morning of the hunt. Soon as we shot this deer, literally on camera, so it's not an exaggeration, 170, 175-inch deer walks out 10 yards from our tree, literally, and walks around and stays within 40 yards for at least 2 minutes, which is an eternity to have a Boone and Crockett buck there. We get down to recover my deer and had another 150 class 10-pointer to come up on us, and I was tagged out. I had another time in Illinois where I had 175, 76-inch deer come out 3 days later as I was trying to shoot a doe with my bow, and he was 5 yards from my tree, and I couldn't shoot him. Did I want to shoot him? I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't, but I knew the game and fish laws, and I knew I couldn't, and so I didn't. My desire as a hunter was to run an arrow through both of them deer, or all of them, but you got to know the game and fish laws. If I'd have been in Georgia and shot one buck, I could shoot 2 bucks. I could have had 2 good bucks, and we could have high-fived and talked about it. So I'm not saying that he's guilty. The video looks pretty bad, but it's not my place to judge. But what I want to get on more than just this story is how I feel about what's happening within the hunting industry. One is, I think the industry has kind of went down some roads that I think is a little bit rocky and shady, if you ask me, when it comes to kind of losing focus and understanding the true people that are viewing these hunting shows, the true customer that's buying these products. I'm not throwing every company, not throwing every hunting personality in this category, because we have some of the finest mentors, men and women in the industry, that represent the culture that we all love. Growing up as a kid in Georgia, let me tell you something. I'll name names right here. Chuck Adams was my hero, man. I read every article. I went to the Buckarama with $20 in my pocket, praying that my dad would give me another 20 when I got there, with my buddy Jackson Bishop, man, praying that I could get a deal on Tink 69. Maybe I could run into a Toxie Hayes. Maybe I could run into Bill Jordan. Maybe I would run into a Whackmaster Ted Nugent that I heard was doing an appearance down there. I wanted to see the best new bows, man. I remember saving my money to buy the first Proline point blank bow and buying that bow and thinking that I was Robin Hood, man. I remember just saving up and buying those double X78s Super Slams, those autumn orange with red fletching, because I wanted to shoot an arrow just like Chuck Adams. I remember watching the Winslow brothers, just praying I could one day meet, Dan Fitzgerald. Noel Feather. Noel Feather was my hero, man. He was the first guy to run in all those big bucks and use a grunt call in Illinois and kill those Boone and Crockett's. And then later, obviously, a bunch of stuff come out about Noel, and it broke my heart that, he was shooting some deer in a high fence or, and using the grunt calls. And I do believe that Noel probably shot a lot of deer in fair chase and did some things right, but everything he did right at that moment that got exposed hurt his career, buried his career, and any ability he had to be an ethical hunter was tarnished. And now in today's world with social media, it's even more critical that we are very responsible in what we do. And with that said, I think every hunter out there and every person has made mistakes. It's very easy if you hunt state to state to indeliberately break a law, whether it's not realizing that you have to have an orange vest and maybe an orange hat. Maybe there is a hunter out there somewhere that gets up in a tree in Georgia that wears his orange but gets up in the tree because he don't want to be seen and takes his orange off. Still all breaking the laws. But when you get to the responsibility of what we're doing, we have to really think about every little aspect of it. And I think when we're producing these shows, we have to remember, just like I did when I was a kid, and paying attention to Papa Waddell, my dad Evan Waddell, who had worked a 50, 60-hour week, that was struggling to get permission from my mom to go on a Saturday morning because there was chores around the house that needed doing. There was a football game or football practice he had to get me to. And there was so many things, not counting the time he hadn't had a chance to spend with her, to get away for that Saturday afternoon hunt. They literally argued about his time in the field. Some men and women, wives and husbands hunt together, but so many times there's so many people like us that we pray that we can have an opportunity to hunt. We hope we have a chance to pull back the bow that we paid good money for. We hope we can actually take advantage of the hunting lease that we joined this year. But because of life and responsibility and kids, financial, stuff that happens, we're not allowed to hunt at the same level of so many of us that get a chance to do it on television. So I take it very personal and very serious when I see a decline in hunting numbers, which we've seen, when I see a declining in the people who watch these TV shows. And I think right now, if you're a television producer, if you're a cameraman, if you are a personality, you ever thought that you wanted to hunt a show, be on a hunting show, if you ever thought that you wanted to do a show that you could see yourself succeed in being a better hunter, I'm here to tell you, if you don't understand and you're not convicted to understand the hardworking men and women who watch our shows, who tune in Outdoor Channel, that tune in to Sportsman's Channel, that tune in on a linear network or a non-linear network digitally to watch you hunt, if you're not serious about understanding their struggles every day of working 60 hours a week, trying to figure out how to pay enough money to get in the hunting club, trying to figure out how to buy the new, latest, coolest gear, and understand the struggles they get to, understand the peer pressure that we can create within the hunting industry of it's better be a 5.5-year-old deer. You better do it this way. You better have so many trail cam pictures. Are you managing the sanctuaries right? Are you managing your food plots right? My God, go tell that to a guy over in southern Georgia who's on a mead lease that's 500 acres and he's got 15 other members that he's trying to figure it out. Nobody's worried about the wind direction or the sanctuary. You're just trying to find a spot that you can maybe see a squirrel. So when it gets down to it and you have the responsibility of having life, hunting is one of the last things that we can truly have fun doing. And so if you're doing a hunting show and you're trying to out-hunt the viewer and you're trying to be too cool for school and you're trying to be on this Macho Man hunting contest, I'm going to tell you right now, whether I cut you or not, you ain't selling no hunt license. You ain't selling product. Hunting is about having a good time. Hunting is about that challenge, that adventure. There's some hunts you can go out on. You can climb up in a stand and you get a deer the first morning just by happenstance or luck. There's some adventures you might go on that you know what, you better be willing to go 8 to 10 miles in order to achieve that trophy. But I can tell you what I had for me when I was a kid, the people I looked up to, and I'll name like Chuck Adams, Harold Knight, David Hale, Dick Kirby. Man, Dick Kirby ain't even with us no more, but Dick Kirby as a turkey hunter made me feel like, even though in my mind I knew he was 10 times the turkey hunter I was at that time. I knew he was 10 times the turkey caller I was. But Dick Kirby, Harold Knight, Paul Butsky, they made me feel like I had a chance of being great at something. They made me feel like with that new cutter call that they were using, that I one day could practice and be just like them. They made me feel like those turkeys that kicked my butt in Booger Bottom, Georgia for years and years with my high school buddies, that one day, if I kept watching, I could figure out how to be just like them. So many times in our industry now, I think everybody's wanting to prove that you'll never be as good as me, that you'll never be able to climb the mountain like me, you will never be able to shoot as far as me. If that's the attitude, and that's how you feel about it, let me just tell you something. And we keep doing stupid things to hurt our industry, to make people not pay that subscription to watch Outdoor Channel. If that's what we're doing as an industry, and we're not rallying together, every company, every network, and we're not rallying together to try to find and make a cleansing process to make sure that we put our best representation of hunting on people that are just doing things wrong, doing unethical, trying to pull the wool over their heads, just trying to pull the wool over the heads and try to pretend that something happened, whether it's hunting in a 5-acre enclosure, they're trying to make it like it's a 2,000-acre wild free range deal. Then let me tell you something. You better see yourself on TV now, and you better take some good pictures, and you better have some good mirrors in your house, because there's not going to be any TV that you're going to see yourself on, because we're going to ruin the viewing experience. Because without the viewers and without the customers, like I was when I was a kid when I bought Chuck Adams arrows, like the customer I was when I was a kid when I bought the first Brown and Mirage bow, when I first bought my first pack of Muzzy broadheads, all the way to my first pack of G5 broadheads, there's not going to be any of us out there. So the only sponsor that we truly have in this industry is the customer. And sometimes we forget it. So I'm here to tell you, aggravated with some of the things that's happening. And there's a lot of people on Facebook that get in there and like, that's it. I see what's happened. All these TV hunters are the same. They're jerks. They're this. They're that. I will not watch TV. All these TV hunters are a joke. Well, that's unfair too. You need to grow up as well, because so many of these TV personalities are no different than anybody else that's out there hunting. We've all had jobs where we work 50, 60 hours a week and pray to hunt on the weekend. But it was because of you and fans that have put us in a situation where we can promote hunting. We're not professional hunters. I hate the term professional hunter, expert hunter. We're all just hunters. And because of y'all, in my situation, y'all give me an opportunity to promote a culture that I love, that in return that you guys love. It's not my job to kill big deer. My job is to hopefully find some inner city kid that maybe will buy a hunting license and tell his dad or his mom or somebody that I want to go hunting. My job is to help share the experience with a veteran hunter that's hunted deer and squirrel all his life, that maybe says, I can never afford to go out west hunting, to maybe one day venture out and go to New Mexico and hunt public ground. Maybe he can save his money and hunt private ground. Maybe he does it with a compound bow. Maybe he does it with a recurve. Maybe he does it with a 30-06, a Bradley tank, or nunchucks. I don't care. Our job is to encourage people to understand what hunting is about. It's not about trying to make somebody look bigger and better, how tough I am. This is not a high school glamour shot in a hunting show. We all seen them. Lord, back in the day, 1990, you see a picture of a pretty girl, you want to know if it's a glamour shot, if it's real. Let's get off the freaking TV shows that are glamour shots, producing the stuff that paying big money to make you think the hosts look good. Let's show it authentic, show what really happens, and have a good time with it. And never be enticed or pushed to think that we got to kill a bigger deer to grow a bigger audience, or to maybe be more respected because it puts us above us. The best hunters I've ever met in this world have not been industry people. The best hunters I've ever met are the people I shake hands with at the Archery Trade Association show. The dealers, these people that run the pro shop counters, the people that come to the Harrisburg show and shake our hand and that live in Northeast Pennsylvania that hunt, the people down in Georgia that have grew up hanging sheetrock and running dairy farms and construction businesses that only get a chance hunting Saturday and Sundays. They're not the people in this industry. Do we have some great hunters in this industry? But everyone that I found come from the same background that those people I just described, and they feel privileged and blessed and take a huge responsibility in promoting it. If it wasn't for the hunting industry, I can tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be building houses with my dad. I'd probably be on a roof putting shingles on. I'd probably be framing up a house. I might be running a bull float. I might be hanging sheetrock. I might be working on the air conditioning or welding, and I'd be proud to do it. But because there's an industry and there's a culture called hunting that people love, we have all been afforded the opportunity to be something that we can do to promote, that we can help celebrate it. And so in my opinion, when you have incidents like happened with Chris, that have instances happen like with Big Bill Busmus, which, by the way, I personally love Big Bill Busmus. He's a kind man. A lot of people kind of dog him out. A lot of people have dogged Chris Brackett out and said he's a jerk. He can be a jerk. I've never had Bill Busmus ever be a jerk to me. He's always treated me kind. He was a good guy. He made a mistake. He did something stupid and made a mistake. You get punished for it. In my life, I've made stupid decisions, and you get punished for it. So we all have to be accountable for our actions. I'm not sitting there saying I'm perfect. I'm not sitting there saying everything I've ever done is perfect. What I am saying is we got to be careful where we throw stones, but we also got to be careful when we're out there producing our TV shows and the image that we portray that is in touch and in sync with the amount of people that's out there hunting and fishing, enjoying the outdoors. And remember that hunting is not mine, it's not the Drurys, it's not the Lakoskis, it's not Outdoor Channels, it's not Johnny Morris's at Bass Pro Shops, it's not Cabela's, it's not Dick's Sporting Goods, it's not Walmart's, it's ours. The good Lord gave us the right to hunt and fish. And because of that, all these companies, all these industries and retailers, networks have set up around it, and it's only financed by the number one partner, the number one sponsor, which is us, the licensed hunters. We had 13 million of us 5 years ago. That number, wake up hunting industry, is down about 2 million. That's not me counting hunting license. That's from our Department of Interior. So let's wake up, let the cream rise to the top. And whether you're in a hunt club and never thought about it being on TV, or whether you're a hunting show host, it's time to be convicted and help promote it. Because I can tell you, if we're not careful, it's not going to be there. We don't think things are sneaking up on us. We don't think there's not hunting season shutting down. Ask people in Colorado that cannot hunt a bear. Ask the people in certain states where they have banned out mountain lion hunting. And you think they're just going after Cecil the lion hunters? No. Anti-hunters are not going to stop until every person who ever caught a bluegill or a channel cat or a bass out of a lake is not permitted to do so unless he decides to be a poacher or to do something illegal. So it's time to gear it down, wake up. And I'm not saying this, I didn't start this post to bash Chris or Bill or anybody out there that's ever made a mistake, because I've made mistakes. I've done stupid things. And you sitting out there and beating your own chest and act like you ain't never made a mistake out there hunting in the woods, you're wrong. That's like a driver saying he ain't never made a traffic violation. Sometimes things can happen. But when you deliberately run that stop sign, when you deliberately do things stupid and you endanger others, or you deliberately decide that you're going to go 100 miles an hour just to see how fast a new Camaro can go, you get punished. Be honest, you get punished whether you do it indeliberately or deliberately. In this case, the verdict ain't completely out, but to me, it's way bigger than just sometimes what happens out there in hunting violations. This is about culture. So if you decide to go hunting this weekend, remember it's yours. Don't let anybody tell you what you got to shoot. You go by the game and fish laws. You take the joy out of it means to you. You work too hard to do it. You work too hard not to decide what show you want to watch and to participate in the things that you want to in the outdoors. If you want to take a 30-06 with 10 rounds of 180 grain Hornady ammunition and go shoot you a doe, that's your right. Don't let nobody tell you that you a sissy because you didn't hunt with a bow or a recurve. If you decide that you want to go out there and you bought you a brand new Hoyt bow, and all of a sudden there's a nice 100-inch 8-pointer, and you've been working hard all week, and your wife gave you permission, I laugh, say that jokingly, but in cases, sometimes we do have to get permission from our wives. Sometimes, bless their heart, they go hunting with us, and some of our wives and girlfriends are better hunters than us. But let me tell you this too. Whether you're a man or woman, if you hunt just because you think you're tougher and better, or maybe you think your butt looks a little bit better in camo than somebody else, if you're a lady out there and think it's cool to be rugged and tough, in reality you don't know nothing about hunting and you're doing it just because you didn't make it somewhere else and you're trying to now do it in hunting, that's a disgrace to the women who truly are authentic, to the people who really are good at what they do and truly want to inspire you to hunt just because it's fun, not because there's an industry that you might could be a model in. So there's so many things I could rant on, but in the end, I'm here passionately trying to protect our hunting industry and tell you that I love what I do, I love what I get a chance to do, and I love that I get a chance to shake the hands of the many people that watch this type of live video that I can meet. And to me, they're the heroes. This industry will never be my hunting boss. You guys are inevitably my boss because y'all are my sponsors. Y'all have given me this opportunity. So with that, that's my daily happenings. That's my rant. That's how I feel about everything at the hunting industry at this point. But with that, we got a lot of opportunity to keep growing this industry. And it's going to take way more than the hunting industry and the hunting TV shows. It's going to take each and every person out there fighting. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of liberals out there that don't ever want us to hunt and fish and do what we love. So with all that said, that's a lot. I love you guys. Thank you guys for viewing Bone Collector. And anything we can do to improve what we do, we work for y'all. Remember that. Me, Nick, and T-Bone and Bone Collector and the partners that support us, we work for you guys. Y'all pay our bills. Y'all pay our bills. The lights would be off at the Waddell household if it wasn't for y'all. Love you guys. Hunt and represent like you want to, baby.